Hello travelers, welcome to the Copper Fox Inn, where we discuss Homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we look through these eldritch tomes and scrolls in front of us and find some of the strangest and most interesting homebrew from across the internet. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I am joined today by...
Mercy the Tiefling Wizard.
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
And Bean the Rock Gnome Rogue. I'm back, guys. I've been on a reconnaissance mission. They had connaissanced once, but I had to reconnaissance.
Oh, gosh.
The connaissance to the reconnaissancing.
But I'm back, and we don't have to worry about local mana again.
Oh, gosh.
No. On your reconnaissance mission, I heard that you may have found an interesting magical artifact that you wanted to share with us.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. It's great. So, I'm a tinkerer, and part of my reconnaissance mission, I had to meet up with one of my old masters. I was an apprentice to him, and this is a device that he's been working on, and it's revolutionary, guys. It's gonna change everything. So, here's the thing. One of the most important parts when you're out in the battlefield is the relationship between the adventuring team that you are on, right? Now, this magical item...
Can love bloom on the battlefield?
That is not what I am talking about. Love is unimportant and does not affect my soul.
I was just doing a Metal Gear Solid reference. We can continue.
No. Gnomes don't use metal. Everything we make is made out of, old bits of garbage. And, toothbrushes, mostly. It's just, a lot of toothbrushes, cobbled together.
It's like that goblin race that we reviewed.
Yeah.
It's a pine cone. That's a grenade.
I see where they get it.
Yeah. No, of course gnomes use metal. We use all kinds of wonderful things to make what we need. Now, as I said before, it is about the relationship between those on the battlefield. And there is many a relationship and many a happening that happens very often.
Okay. That was a wonderful sentence. Continue.
Thomas, what was it that you said earlier about fluff sentences?
No, I don't know. I just took psychic damage, so I'm recovering. Keep going.
But this happening happens often on the battlefield and amongst friends. Now, what it is there's a particular relationship. Especially us gnomes have it, and it is the relationship between a gnome or any other smaller party and the strongest member of your party. That's right. I'm talking about sitting on people's shoulders.
Okay.
I thought you were going to talk about throwing people.
Oh, no, that's another day.
That comes later.
What I'm talking about, I have found this Piggyback device.
Whoa.
Fun.
And this allows
Is that goblin wearing pants?
No.
That's not important.
That leather looks like it would chafe.
A little.
Okay.
But, now, here's the thing. This is, I joke around, but this happens so often. When you're playing, you're like, oh, I'll just carry the little guy or whatever. Mm-hmm. So,
or because your movement speed is just slightly shorter than everyone else's, it causes movement problems.
So someone throws you over their shoulder to just not have to deal with that.
But we often don't have the logistics for how that works. So it's like, well, is your movement to 0? Are you on them? Are you crawling around? Well, they bumped on something, so you fall off. This piggyback device allows us to
codify.
Yeah, codify and have that with a little bit more ease. So I'll just read this very quickly. Got a quick description. This non-magical gnomish invention, I guess, so it's not a magic item of the week, but it's an item.
It's a non-magical item of the week.
It's very specifically non-magical.
It's a backpack. It's a baby carrier. This non-magical gnomish invention aims to make the battlefield a little safer for short creatures by letting them operate from the back of an ally. So it can be installed on any medium creature.
On any medium creature.
Many happenings happen. Mm-hmm. And it will support one small-sized creature at a time, so just one. Now, it takes a minute for the small creature. You have to, strap yourself into it. So this isn't something that you can just do, in the battlefield, I hop into the piggyback thing. But it does take one action to get out of it. So if, he's gonna fall off a cliff, you can be like, I jump out.
They're quick release safety straps.
Yeah, I feel like that's always the case, though, especially if you're, a cosplayer, you get your outfit on, and it takes forever to get all the, buckles and pieces, but then when you go to take it off, you're just I peel it off in, 2 seconds. I get home, I'm done with the con, I just want to get this off. And I feel like that's always the case. Now, there are some interesting caveats. Your speed is reduced to 0, but you have, essentially the speed of whatever thing is carrying you because you just go with it everywhere.
Okay.
Now, the person carrying it cannot benefit to any... Like, let's say you have boots of speed or whatever. The person giving you a piggyback ride does not also have boots of speed now. You're like,
Sure.
it's reduced to 0, but I always have a +5. You're like, what? It's not a bungee cord.
That's not how
you
that
know?
works.
No, you're standing still, effectively. Gotcha, sure.
Now, you are also always facing the same direction as the medium creature who carries you. So this isn't like a thing that you...
Unless you are, of course, strapped in backwards.
I would allow it that you're always facing the opposite direction.
Very...
That's interesting because facing doesn't really come up in D&D.
Right.
There's no mechanics for it, but it could be a consideration.
There are no mechanics for it, but let's say the barbarian is straight up attacking someone in front and someone sneaking up behind. If you're like, I cast firebolt at the guy behind us, you might be like, you can't do that because you are literally strapped to his back.
You'd be like, you have disadvantage because you can't turn around far enough to see him.
Yeah, like you can throw it behind your shoulder or something.
Just blind fire it.
Yeah. Maybe I as a DM would give a little bit more, but if you look at the art here, they're pretty well
they're
strapped in.
Strapped into it, yeah.
So, I think that is the cost that you get for having something that gives you this amount of security on someone's back.
Okay, sure.
Now, you can hide fully behind your ally taking total cover. So I think that's really cool. If like a flurry of arrows is coming, you can just like duck behind them.
I don't want to skip over the beginning of that sentence. It says the small creature has 3/4 cover and can hide fully as a bonus action.
Yes.
Which
That's
is
good.
giving it total cover. 3/4 cover is already very good. Total cover is very good, and hiding as a bonus action
Yeah.
is
So
also
especially
good. Although I don't know, is hide fully the hide action, or is that just saying it gives
Becomes
it
hidden?
full cover?
I don't think if we're going to get into the semantics of it that it is saying they can hide fully.
No,
I think it's
it
just
says
saying they can take full cover.
it doesn't say you can
gotcha.
like. It just means
can
when you squat down,
Take the
you're
hide
covered.
action.
Yeah.
Sure, gotcha.
That's what I would say. And then, now, if either or both of them has to make a dexterity saving throw, always the medium-sized creature makes one instead. So you never have to make a dexterity saving throw. You are always strapped in.
You have to rely on
bound
the
to
other
the bigger
guy's
one.
dexterity
Yes.
saving throw.
Sure.
Now, one thing that is interesting here is it never makes a comment on if it slows down the pace of whoever is wearing you.
Yeah, I mean, it says the medium creature's speed is unchanged.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Which I like, though, because very often in people's minds you're like, I ride on the barbarian because they're strong enough to carry me. Except with this, I feel like everyone's always saying, like, I get on the barbarian's back. But with something like this, you don't have to worry about how strong they are. I mean, you could ride on the wizard's back. You could ride on the monk's back and say, let's spider climb up the wall. Well, no, monks don't spider climb, but they can run up walls. You know, let's run up the wall.
If somebody gets, like, shoes of spider climb or something, that would be, like,
Right?
really
And
good.
now you're both just hanging upside down taking pot shots.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really
And so
cool.
this is fun. I feel like it's always just been the thing, I climb on the barbarian's back because they're strong enough and I'm not gonna... The DM is
You're
just
not
like,
going to slow them down. Yeah.
fine,
Or do you-
they don't slow you down, whatever.
Do you count as something that the thing is wearing for the purposes of, like, polymorph or teleport?
Oh no!
Are you melded into them?
Yikes. Yikes.
Oh no. See, as a DM, what I would do is you are like now two brains possessed in one
gross.
animal.
Oh no! I didn't want to get that close.
And you have to play as like a cat together.
Or you just have to do the two souls fighting for control over the same body.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
whoever rolls high enough gets to choose what the cat does.
I mean that's obviously more fun, but I would rule that, like, yeah, the straps are what they're wearing, but as far as, like, targeting goes, because there's so many different spells that are like, target this thing that isn't being worn or carried, or, you know, kind of a thing, and you are definitely being worn or carried as far as targeting
goes. At least
goes.
one of those. If
You
not
are one of those things.
You are one.
Yeah.
Next episode we're gonna have to side quest where we homebrew what it's like to have two characters possess one being.
Oh, no.
the shared mind feat.
I call veto on that.
I'll do it. Hi, welcome to Bean. I'm here to ruin your life.
So Bean, where did we get this from?
So I found this on Reddit.
Yeah, it's from user Maphammer on D&D, who they have a Kickstarter for making a bunch of magic items and item cards. And so we'll put a link to that in our description.
And there's even a link to it on the bottom of the page.
I know, it's great.
Yeah.
So, go out and kick something, and that'll help their campaign to make magic items, and also go to their Kickstarter and actually donate. But yeah, go ahead.
I love the top comments under here where someone's like, reminds me of a parent with a baby piggyback device, and so you can be baby.
Oh, I'm bait.
And then no one's allowed to attack you because he's baby.
Oh, see, that's the rule, though, because now no one can attack you, Onog. That's how it works.
He's baby.
Because he's bait.
Because he is baby, that would be bad.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't attack. They're bait.
It makes you immune.
You could, as to quote your last episode, you could kind of Mandalorian people, and what if you show up a place and there's just a baby and the piggyback device, and now your party has to take care of a baby.
The classic, the party stumbles into a baby situation, which is always goes very well for everyone involved.
We did that
Especially
in
the
our
baby.
first ever campaign together. We did that.
Oh no.
The a baby joins the party trope is one of my favorites.
It's a good one.
Always
But it is usually a baby animal of some kind.
Yeah,
that gets
usually,
adopted.
but not always. User Maphammer, I want to just compliment. This is very thoughtfully designed, and there's obviously lots of weird niche rules corners, but as far as a pretty holistic approach of trying to address all the major concerns, this is very well done.
I
think this is really creative and really interesting.
It's a nice, cool, simple item that just has a rule set, and you just you run with it.
And
it's going to answer enough of the questions that come up that it won't happen every session. There might be a question that comes up at some point where somebody asks about polymorphing or whatever, but that'll be more dumb than is necessary. This will address 80% of the questions that would come up. How does this work? Do I still have my speed? All that gets taken care of very neatly and wrapped up in this nice little package. It's really well done.
Oh, that's interesting. Someone is in the comments is pointing out a couple of super niche rules considerations with it.
Yeah.
And fun fact for everybody, apparently the only time when the facing mechanic is brought into D&D is beholders.
With
which
the anti-magic
The
direction?
anti-magic code, and also someone pointed out that maybe you should specify that creatures can occupy the same space in this case.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that is necessary because you
you're a
can
small
carry
creature.
other creatures. That's already a thing that exists. If you're riding a horse, they don't have to specify that two creatures can
occupy
share
the
the
same
same space. Yeah, so I don't know if that even is
Interesting.
necessary.
I
mean,
That's something to think about.
I think it's a given in my head, but because there are some people who would be it doesn't technically say it. For some people, you have to put those words there, or it doesn't exist in their hearts and minds.
Was that you trying to do an impression of me?
That was your wrong impression. I think it's interesting that you bring up facing only matters for beholders, so then I think what these rules are implying is that you're carrying a beholder.
If you're in the pack, you are a beholder.
You have one of those little there are those little baby beholders.
Yeah, all the
This is
little
the most
weird
powerful item.
eye watchers and stuff that are
But I think
they
there's
only have
literally
3 eye stalks.
Yeah, there's literally a baby beholder that can be your familiar for Pact of the Chain Warlocks or something like that.
Very weird. Yeah. That would be crazy to have a familiar, I'm just picturing the eye stalks coming up around your back, Dr. Octopus style. You've got these tentacles that each shoot laser beams.
That's so funny because there's just a beholder strapped to you.
There's just a beholder strapped to your back. Of course, they'd never allow it because beholders are super racist and terrible and they hate everyone.
You're like a weird mad scientist, necromancer, steampunk guy. So you've taken a beholder's dead body and you've taken the eye stalks of it.
This is getting gross.
And put it in a machine.
A mad scientist.
Now, Thomas, I do want to step back for a little bit and address the irony of saying beholders are all racist.
Yeah, no, but they are literally in the D&D lore.
The mythos of the lore.
Every beholder is xenophobic. That's their only unique quality.
That's their thing. I don't know what else about them, but they're racist. He could like cupcakes. He could be named Dale, but he is racist.
That's the entire premise of the Xanathar. Which
of Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
He's like cool and likes cupcakes and stuff, but also he's like the most racist person in the world. Yeah, it's beholders have a weird like relationship with D&D Forgotten Realms lore, and they were sort of doing, though, we need to imagine the most evil thing we can. And then they came up with...
What's the worst thing in the world?
Just
racist.
like a big racist.
Yeah.
A big racist
what if it was
guy
racist
with
lasers?
Lots of
Yeah,
eyes
racist
and lasers.
Yeah.
And, you know, just to establish it on record, it is not the equivalent to be racist and call out racism.
Sure, yes.
Yep, you can call people racist, and that's not the same thing.
No, but just like the irony of saying all beholders are racist.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It's that may be true, but...
Yeah, for sure. This is really cool. I love that you could definitely have your, like, I think Mercy mentioned it, your Luke Skywalker, Yoda in a backpack training moment, where you're, like, your goblin wizard trains your Eldritch Knight fighter in the ways of magic.
Absolutely.
Or I guess the ways of doing front flips, which is really what Yoda trained him on,
Yeah, that's
right?
really what it's
Mostly.
about.
Well, here's what I love is a lot of the comments on here are like, oh, this is awesome, like, my little goblin guy always rides our Goliath barbarian. And it's just so many people say that they already do this, and now that this device allows them to...
Now they just have the backpack straps for it.
Yeah, they just have the mechanics for it.
Yeah. Gives them the mechanics. I would like it if we could... in Magic the Gathering, there's some card art where there's like big trolls that wear backpacks that have little catapults on them, and goblins will get in the catapults, and then the trolls will carry the goblins on their back and then eventually launch them out of the catapult.
I love
so
this.
I wish there was some sort of quick eject mechanism for this, where we could launch the gnome perhaps over a wall or something.
Well, it says you can get out of it very quickly, and I don't know if that's a two-way thing. Because it doesn't say anything about the person wearing it being able to just get the goblin
button
out. And they're just starting to bug you in your ears, so you just push a button and it like launches them off your back. You're like, shut up, go away.
That would be very good. Well, we'll wrap that up there. Thanks for bringing that, Bean. I hope that you'll find some use for that in the future. Maybe you and Onog can go on a journey together where you get some use out of this.
Hey, it said any medium-sized creature.
Fun?
That includes you.
Let's go!
No! Why is it always me?
I cast Reduce on myself. I'm a small-sized creature. I can't help. I'm Tiny Thomas now, and I'll end the episode there, travelers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more D&D homebrew discussion content in the future. Comment below your best situation for when you would want this piggyback device in your game, or your best story of one of your larger characters throwing a smaller character. I feel like everyone has at least one of those stories, you know?
Yeah. We sure do. Also, send us your homebrews at thecopperfoxin@gmail.com, and maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll review it on the show if we get one sent in. And until next time, keep on adventuring.
Boom.